What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds? If you want to hear interviews from industry pros, get first looks, and have access to endless comic content, wake up. Please wake up. You're in a coma. Your mother misses you.
Friendly neighborhood nerds, and, even the unfriendly neighborhood nerds. How's it going? This is Judah Rad, and this is Live from the Apocalypse. I'm here with Robo Strange, and then we also have a special guest. We have Ernie, the Blurred Without Fear. He's got a pretty awesome YouTube channel. And you know what? Just tell us a little bit about yourself. How about that?
Oh, man.
On the spot, go.
I am I'm a nerd who reads comic books way too much, and I talk about them on my YouTube channel. X-Men, Venom, Hulk, various and sundry random obscure comic book characters that people probably don't talk about anymore. Not the ones I just mentioned, but
what's the most obscure? What's the most obscure that you like?
The most obscure comic book character that I've ever covered that I am a huge fan of was actually recent. It was a character by the name of Martha Washington. She is a Dark Horse Comics character that, oddly enough, Frank Miller made. This was back in like the early 90s. But she was basically like she wasn't like a superhero. It was like this future dystopia or like alternate history, whatever. And she became this she was this black woman who kind of like joined this really weird military force and went from being this kid with like no future to being like this like a world renowned hero, like a war hero. It's a really, like, even for Frank Miller, like knowing who Frank Miller is now and thinking about like him trying to write this in the 90s is really interesting.
I have such mixed feelings about Frank Miller. He's written some of my favorite things, but then he's also written some completely abominable things.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's the worst thing that he's written to you?
Holy Terror, obviously, because it's bitterly racist. But
yeah.
But
it's incredibly racist.
It's incredibly racist. But also, that's on an ethical standpoint, that's the worst thing he's written. But also, some of his art is like atrocious, and I can't even look at it.
Yeah.
His art's pretty rough.
Some of his Batman drawings give me nightmares. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no denying that.
So, yeah, especially the Wonder Woman he drew like in the last year. Like, oh my goodness. I saw that and I was like, what did you do to Diana, Frank? What is wrong with you?
I have a general theory on Frank Miller, and it's basically that Frank Miller, women can only be cool in Frank Miller comics if they are either hookers, ninjas, or both.
Like Catwoman.
I'm gonna throw this up on the screen.
Elektra, the hookers from Sin City. Like, that's the only way you can be cool. Otherwise, if you're not any of those things, you're probably gonna be a drug addict or some other, like, you'll be a drug addict or some just awful person. Like, you're never gonna be like
yeah.
You don't get to
very
be cool.
rarely are women in comics like good people.
As soon as
like,
you said that,
Ree
Ree was typing that. She goes, his idea of changing up a female character is to make her a sex worker. And like, you guys said at the same time, like.
So when he sits down with his daughter, he's like, "Hey, so honey, I can either start sending you to ninja school, or I could call my friend."
Here, join this pole dancing class and learn a few things.
Right.
Glennis makes a good point. They say that the only cool women I know are hooker ninjas, and I'm like, that is bad. That's the depth of that you're writing for a female character. However, a story about a hooker ninja sounds pretty badass.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Cool. So we're gonna go around. Looks like it's just the three of us today. So we're gonna go around and talk about whatever you have to say that's interesting. Usually for me, it's like I'll go with like what I'm reading or what I'm watching or like what last show I saw or whatever. I'll go ahead and start it off. So I'm reading all new, all different Wolverine right now. With Laura Kinney, and I really enjoy it. It's really good. And then I'm also, like, as a lot of people know, I'm doing the massive all-encompassing Valiant run, and I'm like halfway through. I've read almost half of all Valiant. I just finished Exo Manowar, the 10th trade paperback, and it's a lot. But so I've done like huge X-Men runs before, and I've done huge DC runs before. I would say this Valiant run is the one with the highest ratio of good to not good. So
I was just gonna ask you that, like when you sit there and you do like when I pick an event and I read through it, especially if I want all the add-ons, there's gonna be books you get to where I'm like,
oh yes, so much
this is
dull
bad.
stuff.
This is bad, right?
Why am I reading this?
So
yeah,
I
like to refer to that as onslaught.
So then I ask you then, going through Valiant, how many times does that come up?
It has come up, but just not very much yet.
Nice.
The first, this continuity started in 2012. I'm at 2016 right now, and there are a couple titles. I don't love Quantum and Woody. So when I get to Quantum and Woody, it's not that it's bad. It just doesn't really resonate with me because it is kind of funny, and I can see how a lot of people would like it because it's very silly and like fun comic booky versus gritty comic booky. So I can't say it's bad, but I get a little glazy eyed reading it. So it's not all great, but it's definitely, and also, okay, Peter Milligan writes some of the titles, and man, I don't know what it is. His style of writing just does not work for me. I don't really like his stories or his characters.
All right. So
what books is he mainly that he pops up on the
so he took over from Justin Jordan for Shadow Man and just completely nosedived that series. Ignored everything Justin Jordan did, basically almost rebooted it in continuity, and it was like terrible. He wrote some Eternal Warrior books that you would think the Eternal Warrior, how could that be boring? But it was just like so introspective and like like the Eternal Warrior just like thinking and having an internal monologue, and that's just not for me, He did write a series called Britannia. It's a kind of a shorter Valiant series that takes place in like ancient times, and I haven't read it yet. It's coming up on my list, but it's very highly regarded, so who knows? I always go into even with a writer that I don't normally love. Sometimes writers get better, or sometimes writers are better with different types of stories. So I'll give it a chance because it's Valiant. But his stuff just doesn't really resonate with me.
All I know is that if Greg sees this, he's probably sitting there looking at his. So Greg Katzman, the marketing director, it's like, okay, that guy's not going on IFLC. Got it.
I don't think he's at Valiant anymore. And a lot of the reviews I've read is that he's actually writes really great creator-owned stuff, but a lot of his fans, even his fans, will say that it's like he kind of phones it in for the writer for hire type stuff.
I see.
I see. Cool. I could see that. We actually, oddly enough, the stream I did earlier today, we were actually talking about that in regards of other like writers from Marvel, DC, who go over to other I guess less well-known publishers like I don't like calling Image that because I think Image is a better-known publisher, but like you look at like IDW, Boom Studios, Aftershock. I was telling somebody the other day that if you read anything by Al Ewing and you're like, oh, I don't really like his Marvel stuff or this stuff, I said, well, go check out, he does comics for other companies. Like, I love his Marvel stuff.
I was gonna say,
go check
out. He does a comic for Boom Studios called We Only Find Them When They're Dead, which is I think it's only 2 issues in and is already really good. I was talking about like Jeff Lemire. If you didn't like any of his stuff in DC, go read his. He does stuff for Image that is fantastic.
Yeah.
His Valiant stuff, by the way, Lemire's is amazing.
Okay, yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. He's actually like seeing some of those names have actually kind of made me kind of go, maybe I will give Valiant more of a chance. Maybe I will do that.
It's actually really good. So like I'm one of those types like there's some kind of like non-superhero capes and cowls stuff that I do enjoy that I found. But I mean these two know Ree's not here today, she's in the chat, but Ree and Judah know my main thing is capes and cows. That's what I read comics for, that's what I want to see. And so
what about nanites?
Capes, cows, and nanites?
Nanites is
if nanites are in the shape of a cape or a cowl, then it's good. That's good.
Okay.
But
so little nanites with
that.
Yeah, and I need to be pointed ears. So so here's the deal: is that so I start Valiant, and I'm kind of known for the guy who loves comics, but for some reason never has time to read them. And so, like for instance, when it's my turn to talk about it, I'll say, I'm getting through Harbinger. And then if you were watching every week, like our mods do in the chat, you'll go, didn't you say Harbinger like 2 months ago? And I'm like, yeah, I did. so that's me, but I love it. I love it. If you love superhero stuff and you've been delaying Valiant comics, go pick it up because you will not. I do not understand how they're not bigger than they are, because I'd say in a lot of ways they're better than the big two. So
it's what I've been reaching for. Even like when I'm in the mood for like I always have like 4 or 5 trades open on my nightstand at any given time, and I'm always like the other ones are being neglected because I'm always going for the Valiant.
Yeah.
What about you, Robo? What have you been getting into?
So honestly, so I just bought a brand new computer. It's being built as we speak because I want to enter into the world of
as we speak, like it's building itself.
Yeah, it's being built.
An amazing computer.
There are other people in the world besides the 3 of us on screen. So one other human being in the planet is building my computer right now. So I want to get into streaming and stuff like that. I want to play some of the bigger games. Watching Blur Without Fears. If one of the mods in the chat can just go find Blur Without Fears Twitch and YouTube, drop those links in the chat. But I start watching Twitch more often, and I'm like, okay, I could do this. So I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight, a lot of Avengers, stuff like that. So that's also what's holding me back on a lot of my comic reading. But like I said before, Harbinger, I'll sit down on the couch whenever, Mylene takes over the TV, and I'll start reading some of that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm still trying to get through the first Annihilation too. I'm just got done with the what you call them, the preludes, all the Silver Surfer and Drax and all. I just got done. I'm finishing up Silver Surfer, and I'm finally about to get into the main title. So
you got to get that done so you can read Annihilation Conquest, which is like 10 times better.
Yeah.
They go up in quality.
Yeah.
At least, well, they did something else recently, didn't they?
Yeah.
No, there was
Annihilation.
an Annihilation event. I don't think Dan Abnett or Andy Lanning had anything to do with it.
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
But it was small. It wasn't like, at least it didn't feel like a huge like Marvel event. It felt like just like a really simple, like self-contained little story that just kind of happened to be going on while other stuff was happening.
No.
Yeah.
Or whatever else was going on. But yeah, like I didn't end up catching it, but like
that's it right there.
Typically Annihilation is a good time for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that era of cosmic Marvel. And it's basically what the movies are based on, sort of.
That's right. So Judah, you surely by now you've hooked up your PS4. Like you
It's being hooked up as we speak.
As we speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, I already told you. What are you streaming right now, Blerd?
Well, like the most.
Yeah, like when people go to your Twitch, what can they expect to see? Some of the things.
Lately, it's been Dead by Daylight, Phasmophobia, which is really fun. I was doing a lot of Avengers at first, but then like as because of the timing of Avengers, for that first month when October kind of crept in, it was like, okay, well, it's time for scary stuff.
Yeah.
Or like, horror games, which I'm actually a huge fan of, like the horror genre. Just in general, whether it's video games, books, movies.
Do you live alone?
Whatever.
Do you live alone, or do you live alone, or do you have a family?
I have family.
Okay, because
me, my wife, 2 kids.
I love horror, but I can only do it when there are other people in the house or present. I can't, like, I'm too much of a wuss. I can't, like, just enjoy a horror thing and then be alone in my home.
Everyone in my house, like my wife loves horror movies, even though she's kind of she's kind of a wuss when it comes to them. Though depending on what it is, she's a lot better than what she gives herself credit for. But like depending on what the type of horror movie is, like if it's something that like could really happen to somebody, then that's like what gets her. Like
so
like
weird,
ghosts and stuff like that, supernatural stuff doesn't really bother her. Or like monsters and zombies and stuff like that don't bother her. But like, yeah, like a movie like The Strangers messes with her head because you can actually, like, that can happen.
So like that genre of scary movies, like where people go on vacations and then like the hill people come and start attacking the cabin in the middle of the woods. That shit messes me up. That shit messes me up.
Like the realistic scenarios are the ones that don't scare me. It's only supernatural nonsense that scares me, which is weird.
It depends if there's like jump scares or not.
That's actually, I mean, honestly, I think that's actually a really normal thing though, because like, what was one we watched? And this is, I will say this, if you've never seen this, I recommend it because I believe it's on Netflix. There's a movie called Hush, and it's about a deaf woman who is a writer, and that really has nothing to do with the plot, but whatever. Anyway, she lives alone in this house out in the woods, and this dude just breaks in her house for no real actual reason. And he's like for the first part of the movie, he's stalking her. Like he's playing with her, like he's messing with stuff in the house. Yeah. And like there's a good chunk of the movie where she doesn't even know he's there because she can't she can't hear him. So it's like it's a really good movie. Like it's a very tense movie. Oof. But I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it should be. I want to say it should be on Netflix. Last time I saw it, it was on Netflix.
I have to check it
but
out.
It's just simply called Hush. But yeah, like stuff like that, The Strangers, things like that mess with me because I'm like, stuff like that's just weird. It's like, whoa, why are you doing this to us? It's because you were home. Like that's the answer. Like there's no reason.
So re-ask a couple questions here, real quick. Here's one for everybody. Re asks, what are your 3 deepest fears? Go ahead, Blerd. What are your 3? What scares you?
Honestly, what horrifies me? Well, okay, that's actually one of them then. Someone trying to harm myself or like people I care about with no actual rhyme or reason. Like they can't be reasoned with. They can't, like, you can't beg or plead with them. Like there's nothing you can do or say that's probably going to change like the course of their actions. Like, but just like encountering someone who just like, no, I want to kill you just because. Like, I don't have any beef with you. I don't know you. You've never done anything to me. By all accounts, you're probably a nice person, but I just want to kill you just because I woke up this morning and decided that I wanted to kill somebody and you happened to be home.
Yeah.
That's
Like
terrifying.
that, like something like that would terrify me. The second thing is the things that you can't fight back against, like something that like a what's a good example? When you encountering something like that doesn't have to even be like a monster, this is where you start going to like stuff that just isn't real. But like something like a force of nature, like a force of power or something that like you kind of, once again, kind of similar as before,
like Pennywise, like Pennywise.
Yeah, you can't fight it. You can't. I mean, I guess you can. 'Cause
Look
anyway,
who's on the screen. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, let's go ahead and we've got to interrupt a little bit. Todd motherfucking Bernardy.
We have Todd.
Oh, hey.
Let me set this up real quick. Go ahead, talk, Judah. Sorry to interrupt, but just one of the marquee guests, half of the marquee guests we had on, decided to join us.
So, Todd, this is Ernie, the Blerd Without Fear, and Ernie, this is
nice to meet you.
Bernardy. He's a very, very talented writer. Lives in Hawaii with us. Well, not with us, Hawaii, but separated by water. So, like, same state, but awesome. I would need a boat to visit or an airplane.
They were like, you can live here, but you can't live on the same island as us. You have to.
Oh wow!
In Hawaii,
over there.
All right, cool. We got that up. We're all good to go. Let's go ahead and just back up 1 second. I'm going to get back to the question at hand.
Yeah.
Todd Bernardy, writer of the Kukui Project, Disco Groove Bone, Mohawk Thunder. Check out his stuff. I promise that I'm not going to do you like Nerdwatch. I have the video. I just got to edit it. I'm going to post it. I put that on everything. So once that's up, you guys will see it. We interviewed Todd Bernardy here. You get to hear all about his work.
Yeah.
Right now.
It was a challenging interview. I'm really glad that you were able to get something out of it.
Some hard-hitting questions. You did a lot of dodging and avoiding, but
it was like a confirmation hearing. It was like I thought they were going to be all softball questions, but
I took a page from Chris Wallace and really just dug in.
That's right.
Hammered you.
It was brutal. Brutal.
Before we get into what you're reading, we're in the middle of a question right now asked by Rhea about, in the spirit of Halloween, what are your 3 biggest fears? Ernie's talking about so far. Sociopaths, killers. And then the supernatural, you can't do shit about it. You got a third one, Ernie?
The third one is probably a little more silly. I know that I would. Well, I want to say silly, but I guess it's like I don't know. Depends how you look at it. Like the whole like when all the torture porn craze was a thing in like Hollywood for a while, still kind of is.
Like Hostel. Yeah. Talking about like Hostel.
Yeah, like Hostel, Saw, stuff like that. Situations like that. Like not maybe less hostile because I know I would never put myself in that situation. I would never be in any place where I would ever be in any way close to something like that happening to me. But like a Saw type situation, I'd be terrified of that because I know me and I would just be like, nope, just gonna die.
That's
so right. What you're saying is you don't want to be captured by Garth Ennis's imagination.
Nope. Yeah, that's it.
Not one bit.
It.
I don't want to be in Preacher. I don't want to be
Crossed?
in Boys.
Crossed.
None of it. I don't want to be in Punisher. Nothing.
Okay.
That man is mean.
Fair enough. Well, those are very scary.
What about you, Todd? We'll go two-parter because you missed the first part. What are you reading right now? And then if you want to follow that up with, what are your 3 greatest fears?
So what I'm reading now, first, I'm reading The Aesthetics of Comics by David Carrier. I don't know if I talked to you guys about that last week. I'm finishing that. it's really good. He divides it up into he separates sort of like the structure of comics and why they're important philosophically. I have it around here. It might be in my bag still, but yeah, it's a really good book. I didn't get any comics last week. This is
You're doing the thing where it's blurry.
I'm doing the thing where it's blurry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It tries to find a face.
You're doing that thing.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
The aesthetics of
Okay, yeah, I
comics.
see it now. Yeah.
Is this what my eyesight's going to be like in another 20 years? Is that what
Yeah.
this is?
You're like, damn it, Skype, you will show this book.
It's because, I mean, yeah. So there's that, and then I'm working through this book, and I haven't really read too many other comics. Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of stacks of stuff. I bought the Spirit from 1997 or 98.
Interesting.
It was the last time Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons worked together, and they did a full issue of the Spirit for Kitchen Sink Press, and it ran for like 8 issues. And I'm kind of I finished that, but I've got the other issues to work through. So I'm kind of working on that.
I heard there's an excellent movie directed by Frank Miller about that character.
Yeah,
It's one of the greatest movies of all time, I think.
I did so much research and so much like pre-planning for that movie just to be like devastated at the theater. Like I bought 2 trades of Spirit comics. I read the Miller and Eisner like interview conversation book that they had. Have you guys ever seen that?
No.
It's awesome, man. Like Frank Miller and Will Eisner, and there's a third guy. They're all sort of it's a conversation between Miller and Eisner about comic books. I think it came out in 2004. And so I read that, and then I read a Will Eisner biography. So I was pumped. I was like, I'm all about this Spirit. This is gonna be so great. And then it was bad.
So what you're saying is you did more research than Frank Miller did.
Like I, thinking that like he was such a huge fan, especially after reading that book, the Miller Eisner book.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea like how he was. It was just like he needed somebody to tell him no.
Right.
No, you shouldn't do it like that. No, it's not a comic book.
That's right.
You can't put all.
This is also not Sin City.
It's also not Sin City. Yeah. You shouldn't. And the Spirit's got a blue suit. You should make sure that the Spirit has a blue suit. I mean, I'm gonna hold it up and it's gonna be all blurry again, but that's the Spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
The general shape of that looks really
blue
cool.
at any point in the movie. Not that I can remember.
No,
He
it
did
was
have
all
a
black.
flowing tie, a CGI tie that flowed. I didn't see the movie. I just saw the preview.
That's
You know,
good.
it's-
I was
I mean-
glad to see the CGI tie, though. It was very important that it wasn't a real tie. So.
Can I just say it was my worst Christmas movie going experience ever?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because actually, I remember the movie came out on Christmas, and I went to go see it like literally, it was like, oh, I'm done doing family stuff. Let's go see the Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Miller
God.
ruins Christmas again.
It's like a toss up between that and the American Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
I liked that. I liked that.
I liked it, but it's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
But it came out on
Yeah.
Christmas.
That automatically makes it a Christmas movie, by the way. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
It was not a fun time at the theater.
I like how we are somehow succeeding at having this conversation without anyone bringing up that one Bruce Willis movie that always comes up when people talk
I
about
was
this.
gonna do it, but I was like, nah. I was reading the room.
Pulp Fiction? Pulp Fiction?
Pulp Fiction, yeah. Pulp Fiction is a Christmas movie. Damn it.
Reservoir Dogs is a Christmas movie.
That's right. So real quick before we get into your fears, Comics on the Mind, Lady Fantastic, from Not Near Mint, the YouTube channel. Go check them out. Welcome. Who else we got in here? Ace McG. They've been in the chat for a little bit, but I never said hi. Hi, how you doing? Welcome back. And then Nerdette was in here earlier. What's going on, Nerdette? And of course, all our wonderful mods and admins in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Before we go on to Todd Bernardy's worst fears, I just want to give everybody a quick reminder that, especially if you're watching on your phone, go ahead and minimize the chat real quick. Give us a like, and of course, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. But definitely give the video a like and then come back into the chat. Todd, what gives you nightmares? What is you?
Oh man.
We're gonna get into comic books here really soon, by the way. In case
since I became a dad, like everything, I'm afraid of everything. You know, I'm afraid of my worst fear that kind of gives me nightmares is like
stepping on your kid, because that was
I mean, it's like stuff like it's not like sexy slasher movie stuff. It's like, God, I hope nobody gets cancer. You know, it's like that's my worst fear, is like somebody getting some terminal illness in me or my family, a family member or something. Like that's like what kind of keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
So you have rational fears.
I suppose. I mean, that's
we were just talking about that kind of.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
Ernie was
certainly
talking
not
about
afraid of failure.
Right.
I mean that is factual, because
That is actually my third fear, actually. That's my third fear.
I'm pretty used to failing, so I'm not afraid of that anymore.
Failure? Shit. I do that shit daily.
Yeah, I'll do that over and over again. Was I 20 minutes late? Yeah, I was. I'm not afraid of failing.
I like your response. Hey, bro, you still coming on? Response.
Oh crap.
Oh crap.
Dude, I had a plumbing emergency. I was in the middle of a plumbing emergency. I found out that my kitchen sink was leaking. So I was in the middle of cleaning up like everything from underneath my kitchen sink, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, the podcast. Crap."
You're a better man than I am, because if I was in that predicament, I would be like, "Okay, well, this is what I'm doing now."
Thank you for being you. Thank you for being you and not Judah.
No, I bring everything and the kitchen sink when I come for podcasts.
Hell yeah! I think it's funny that you two said families, because that's definitely one of my greatest fears too. Except it's a little bit more specific. Sometimes I could get pretty irritable, and I can be in a rush and things like that. So one of my greatest fears is that I hurt somebody I love by accident, like even my dogs. Yeah. Like I've heard, you hear the horror stories of I was backing out of my driveway in a rush and my dog. Yeah. Insert, right? And then it's like, if I used to think about that to where I almost get like a complex to where when I go home, like not anymore because my daughter's 20 and my son's 17. But like when they were little, I'd be like going to and get in the car, and it'd almost be like you know how true OCD is, like, oh, I have to go check the iron 87 times to make sure I turn it off. That's how I almost kind of was with that kind of stuff. Was like, I get in the car, I'm like, I get out, walk around the car, or text the wife, hey, the kids are inside, right? Okay, cool, now I can back out. Because like in my head, I'm like, no way. Deep water is I cannot handle deep water in the ocean.
Like opaque deep water where you can't even see what's below you.
I don't even get. You know what's funny? I used to think that that was the problem until I went to the Keys. And in the Florida Keys, there's a part of the water there that's beautiful, clear. You can see to the bottom. Nope. That shit doesn't help. Like, it's almost worse. I'm floating above, like, 1,000 miles above.
Exposed?
Yeah, I'm just like, look, just like monsters and shit. Real monsters live in the ocean. And if anything comes up to you, you're done. You're done.
That is scary.
Yeah, and then
I will say, the deep water, I can co-sign on that.
Yeah.
It's understandable, not necessarily relatable, but understandable.
Yeah. You know what's weird though? What mitigates that is having other people around. So like if we all went into a boat into the ocean, or go at a party boat, and everybody jumped off the side and there's like 10 people in the water, I'll jump in. Like that'll be fine. But doing it by myself, no way. No way, Jose. Yeah.
So your third fear. Oh.
I get excited about that kind of stuff. But I can totally see how I like you almost panic in that situation.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
100%. I know a dude actually from here. This old Hawaiian dude out in Kana Point. I don't know if you know Oahu well or not, but out on Kana Point, there's a satellite station. I used to work out there. And this guy who used to go out there, he's like, yeah, I had lobster. And he would always talk about lobster and how he's like cooking lobster and this. And I'm like, bro, like you really like lobster, huh? And he's like, well, I free dive for lobster. And I'm like, oh.
Lobsters are like giant spiders.
Yeah, giant spiders. I still don't get how the first people were ever eating them, because they had to look at that and go, I'm going to try to break that open and eat it.
They're like the mermaids of the scorpion world.
That's very good. I like that.
But
check this shit out.
I've never thought of it that way.
In Hawaii, they don't have claws. So.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah, the Hawaiian blue lobsters don't have claws.
So what part do you eat? Like the tail, I guess.
You just eat the tail, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. They're still ugly as fuck, though. But check this out.
Yeah.
This motherfucker goes at night.
Yeah.
By himself. He goes, oh, yeah. Just go out.
Excuse me?
Yes. He takes his boat off the shore of Hawaii, drops an anchor, dives down into the dark. And I said, but the flashlight. He's like, yeah, wildlife is attracted to the flashlight. So that makes it easy. And I'm like, no, that's the thing you don't want.
And then you turn your flashlight, and there's a gigantic shark with its mouth open about to consume you.
And it's about the size of a bus, and you look, and you have to look like this. That's its whole mouth, and that's it. That's the end. That's my nightmare.
That's terrible.
Yeah. There's a video game that I have been asked to play again on my Twitch channel called Subnautica.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
And I've been asked to play it this month. And it's not a horror game at all, but for me it is.
Yeah.
Because I do have a deep-seated fear of the underwater.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I have played it in the past, and I screamed like a little bitch. So anytime something swam near me.
100%.
I've watched Markiplier play like hours of it, and it looks really, really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
It's a fun game, but it preys on too many of my. My issues with being that deep underwater.
Yeah.
Like being able to see out and like not see anything for like a ways bothers me.
No, that's 100% it. And I'm not like that with the woods though. It's like Country Boys, when I tell this story, like when we're talking about what scares us, Country Boys are like, oh, who cares about the water? You know what you should be afraid of is the woods. And I'm like, I'm not really afraid of the woods. He's like, mountain lions stalk you. You can walk up. Bears sleep, and apparently they're like, from what I'm told, bears are like silent when they sleep. So when you're walking through, you just might stumble up on one, and then you're gonna get fucked up. And I'm like, I don't know. Me on the land, my brain says you're fine, even though I know I'm not fine. But in the water, I'm just like, okay, I guess I just hope I don't die. You know, I don't know. It's weird.
I will say your guys' fears are very, very different from mine.
Go ahead. Like, yours is tentacles, and what else?
No. So my number one, I don't like tentacles, but my
really
my number one, my number one fear is being surprised by an old lady in my own home. So like waking up at night. And it's still like kind of dark in the room, and I look in the corner of the room, and there's an old lady.
Thanks. That's mine now.
Yeah.
Shrouded in black, just standing there. That sounds like unspeakable. That's like gives me anxiety to the point where like if I'm in bed and I think about it, I can't open my eyes.
Add this part. What if she's up on the corner of the ceiling, the top part of the wall, where she's pressed herself into the corner of
Okay. So
what if you
right off the top?
What if it's that she doesn't
can't
actually
watch
make
That's it. That's
right. The creepy old lady to me is even scarier than the creepy children, and I don't like the creepy children. but damn, like the old lady thing, like shrouded in black, like what was that movie where they're looking at photographs, and in the photographs behind them is like this old lady, like terrifying.
So you love that scene in It then, in It 2, where she comes running out of the kitchen.
Frightening, very frightening. I don't like that.
No, thank you.
The second one relates to water. But Robo, you said you're afraid of deep water. I'm actually more afraid of shallow water. And it started actually like last year. I was snorkeling at Shark's Cove in Hawaii, which is actually really nice. But the tide was low, and I was very low. And as I was like floating, I looked down, and there's literally like an eel right below me, just staring at me.
And you can't escape
it's
it.
got this,
yeah.
If you ever look at an eel's face, it's like the ugliest fucking thing, like this nasty, ugly, hideous leer. And the whole time I was thinking, oh God, it's gonna think that my penis is a female eel and try and mate with it. And I was like panicking.
It'll go for your fingers or your toes too.
Great.
Like it'll
Great.
And then once it latches on, it's not gonna let go.
Great.
You know.
Hey, that does not make it better.
That completely.
I'm more afraid of eels than sharks. Like I sharks are, especially like maybe juvenile ones will kind of fuck with you, but like the big ones, they don't really want anything to do with you. You know, you're not.
I keep hearing they don't like the taste of people. Apparently, sharks don't like people.
No.
They try it.
I don't,
like
that's what I've heard.
I mean, could you imagine if you were a shark and you could eat anything in the ocean? Like, why go after people?
Dude, people who smoke and regularly, this was filled with like half poison like 20 minutes ago, and I'm like, yeah, if I were a shark, I'd probably think that's pretty disgusting, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, one more.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
It's finals week. And I forgot what all my classes were, and I haven't been to them all semester, and I'm panicking. That's like I wake up from that one. That's a scary one.
How about one we've had kind of for the show is we've had a lot of good interviews on here. A lot of pretty decent freaking names. I think not at a Halloween level fear, but one of those like
Jonathan Hickman is going to be on the show.
Jonathan Hickman, Donnie Cates, like somebody that we really love, and we're like, what was supposed to happen today? And I look at my phone and there's like 87 text messages, 3 missed calls. Bro, we're waiting for you in Skype. Where are you at? That's a fear. Man. That's a fear.
I've actually had like not that exact thing happen, but like I think there was one day, it was this was some Saturdays ago. I forgot to set my alarm, and my kid wakes me up. And, I normally, go live at like 12 Central Standard Time, 12 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And she wakes me up and she's like, Daddy, aren't you supposed to be streaming? And I was like, what time? Of course, I don't know why I asked her what time it is. She's 5. She doesn't know how to tell time. But like, I start scrambling, looking for my phone, and I'm thinking it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. It was actually only 11, but it was terrifying.
Yeah,
that is terrifying.
I bet. Was Carter? Did Carter hook you up? He can't start it himself, huh? He just has to sit there and wait.
No, he can't. No,
yeah,
everything's on my side.
That's right. By the way, you'll like the last video we're about to put up today. It's already done editing with Tim Seeley.
Tim Seeley?
Yeah, we throw your questions up there. I got a little thing that comes up. It's pretty dope. So you and Carter get your questions, especially Carter's. That's gonna be funny.
Oh,
he's like, don't ask him.
I'm now
tell him.
Remembering what Carter asked, and I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah, he said he wanted more of Grayson, but the way he asked it, he's like, don't ask him, tell him. We need more. We need more Grayson out. I'm like, all right, I'm asking just like that. Then. All right.
He was so nice. All right, we're gonna get into some news items.
Hell yeah.
The first news item is very exciting. One of my favorite actors, Michael B. Jordan, is going to produce Static Shock with his production company, Outlier Society, which is behind the actor's recent roles in Just Mercy and the upcoming Without Remorse. And then we have a quote from Michael B. Jordan. I'm proud to be part of a new. Let me start that again. I'm proud to be a part of building a new universe centered around black superheroes. Our community deserves that. Outlier Society is committed to bringing to life diverse comic book content across all platforms, and we are excited to partner with Reggie and Warner Brothers on this initial step. Is that Reggie Hudlin that he's talking about? I don't know. I didn't dig deep.
He is going to be working with Reggie Hudlin.
Yes.
They're going to be working together because if I'm not mistaken, I know Reggie Hudlin has stated that should a movie be made, he would produce it. And I would not be shocked if he wrote.
That would be
just
dope.
because he has a very deep. He still writes and directs for television today. For those unfamiliar, I think his earliest stuff goes back to like House Party.
He wrote a very
direct-
good Black Panther run.
Yes. His Black Panther run was, I want to say it was like Volume 4 Black Panther. I think he wrote like 42 issues of that comic, and it was
I like it better than Priest.
pretty damn good.
The people,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in our chat going crazy. They just keep repeating Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan with exclamation points.
I'll say this.
I don't understand what's going on in the chat. What about it?
Creed is like the shit. And if you guys haven't watched the 2 Creed movies, that whole franchise, the Rocky franchise is an, what is it, 6, 7, 8 movie franchise if you include Creed, and they're all good. An 8 movie franchise where every single one is a banger. So yeah, definitely.
Even when you think that they probably shouldn't be, like, because I remember when they came out with like the 6th one,
Right.
I was like, I don't know why we're doing this, and I went to go see it. I was like, wow, it's actually good.
It's really good. It was moving. I felt like a twitch, like right here in my eyes. Yeah, it was good. But,
And then this water fell from my eyeballs, and I was like, "What is this?"
What is this liquid?
So, did you guys watch the old Static Shock animated series? It was on WB. It's pretty awesome. That was my introduction to Static Shock.
I remember it. I wasn't a part of my lineup, but I remember it being on. But I think it was on a different channel that I didn't normally watch. But yeah,
Very excited for this.
Yeah, it was. I didn't watch it like hardcore because it was kind of it came at a weird point in my life where like I wasn't really watching many like animated shows. But I was actually very familiar with the character from the comics because when Milestone started, I remember my mother saved this news article. It was like there was a news article actually talking about, oh, there's this new comic company coming. It's going to have all these black superheroes and Puerto Rican superheroes and, you know, all these other kinds of superheroes and whatnot. And I was like, I got really excited about it. And Static was one of the ones they showed. So, like, I became this huge fan of that character and started, like, going to the shop and, you know, picking up some comics when they were released. So, like, that's kind of how I know Static more than just about anything else. But I am familiar with the cartoon now. I've seen it more now since, like, before.
getting ready for the Milestone re-release.
So
they've been re-releasing the comics lately.
Yeah,
they're coming. It's going to be the big. It's just growing. Milestone is going to be the biggest thing in superhero comics, I think, within the next 5 years or so. Just the way it's been developing.
nice.
So moving on to the next news item. You guys are all familiar with Elvira, Cassandra Peterson. She's launching a Kickstarter for the Omega Ma'am comic. Omega Ma'am. This fall, Dynamite presents Elvira, the Omega Ma'am, an epic 48-page comic event that sees Elvira waking up in the midst of a quarantine apocalypse, which I find rather timely. The new comic sees Peterson collaborating with frequent writer David Avallone, with the project shattering its goal of $6,666 shortly after launching. We actually emailed Cassandra to get her on our show for an interview, and she declined, but she responded to our email, which I thought was very sweet. Thank you, Cassandra.
That's pretty awesome.
It sounds like you need to hit her up again. That's what.
Yeah, I think I will. I mean, she said if our interests ever align in the future, then perhaps we could set something up. So
That's how
maybe
you
our interests are aligning now that she has a Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you started off. So, our interests are now aligned. Let's do this.
I will. I'm going to do it after this recording. I'm going to do it. So that's cool. I have a kind of a schoolboy crush on Elvira.
Who doesn't, man?
Because she's a very pretty girl. Pretty girl.
Pretty.
Yeah.
And we have a very serious question from Respawn. I don't want to like bring down the mood or anything, but here's a serious question. Question for the panel. Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, and a bunch of other comic writers are into the occult. Do you think magic is a viable option when making comics as a way to boost sales?
Chaos magic for sure.
Chaos
Absolutely.
magic, yeah, you have
Yeah.
to, you have to go that route because that's what comics.
Grant Morrison and Alan Moore, they're chaos magicians, so I think that's absolutely.
Robo, do you still have that picture of Alan Moore from his new movie?
No, I purged it. I purged it from anything that.
Wow. Wow.
That was
He's just a
unsettling.
wizard. That's all.
Yeah.
He's the wizard.
He's so funny.
He's a wizard.
He's been like trashing comics, and then who cares? He's Alan Moore. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Honestly, I expect him to trash just about anything that is not like I will say this though, for all of his misgivings and whatever you feel about him one way or the other, I will give him credit for something that I won't give many. Is that for all the crap that he talks about, like the comic book industry and how he hates today's comics and whatever, I give him credit that he even talks crap about his own work. So,
He hates the Killing Joke.
Yeah, he hates the Killing Joke, and I understand why he hates it. He is not a huge fan of one of his own creations, Rorschach. Or at least rather, he's not a fan of like people
How it was
thinking
received.
that he's a character you should idolize.
Yeah.
But it just is one of those things that, I will give him credit for that. But yeah, Alan Moore's.
When I
He's
hear
an
opinions
equal
like that,
opportunity
like
hater.
Alan Moore's opinions or like Martin Scorsese's opinions that are like very kind of like anti the things that I find myself liking, it doesn't really bother me. It just doesn't really bother me. It's like that, it's a valid opinion. That's fine. I know people get really up in arms on it on the internet, and some people then are like, fuck Martin Scorsese, or people are like, and to me it's like, hey, that's his take, this is my take, and we can all just live peacefully disagreeing about whether superheroes are valid entertainment or not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like he was responsible for superheroes growing up. He took it seriously when he was writing it. He took Swamp Thing seriously, and a lot of the DC characters that he handled afterwards, and like Batman. So like I don't see how he could criticize the way superheroes sort of grew up and became darker and more mature during the 80s when he was primarily responsible for that.
He wanted it to be a one-time thing. He didn't want it to become the norm.
Yeah, maybe that's I think that, but there's, if you want Batman stories from the 50s, you can still go read those.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you want something a little bit more, I don't know, cheesy or corny or more for children, you can get those things. Those books exist. They're still doing the Batman the Animated Series book at DC. That's perfect.
The adventure continues.
But if you want something more adult, you can read The Dark Knight or The Killing Joke or whatever. He said something when he was criticizing comics. He said that he thinks that it's going to be bigger trouble for the major two publishers like Marvel and DC, like this pandemic and the way that people are going to come out of it. And he said that independent comics are going to be probably, with their versatility, they're going to be a little bit more mobile and everything. And I sort of agreed with that. I agreed with some of his statement, but I also was just like, why are you criticizing people that enjoy your work?
That's it.
Yeah.
It goes a little bit extra for me too. Like I'm not as magnanimous as Judah here when it comes to like the way people express their opinion. I think everybody has a right to their opinion, and everybody has a right to their own personal judgment, and I'm fine with that. But for example, if I said I don't understand YouTube podcasts. I think they're drivel. Okay, so far, I'm good. I'm allowed to have my own opinion. And I just think that the kind of people that enjoy them are brain dead fucking idiots who can't, you know what I mean? Then that's where we're like,
Right.
like,
Now it's an
okay,
insult.
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm like, the way you're expressing what's wrong with the world and the kind of people who enjoy this medium, fuck you. Especially like you said, Todd Bernardy, when you are literally part of of why it exists in the fucking first place.
Yeah. You created.
We say the F word on
the
this show.
demand for what you're criticizing.
That's right.
So like,
that's right.
why? What's the deal, man? But then again, I mean, he went on from there and he made From Hell and V for Vendetta and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Right.
So there's some stuff that he really, he discovered that he has, talent, and he was able to sort of apply it and make and try to bring more literature, maybe, or more literacy, I guess, into comic books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is how you do an adult comic book.
Right.
And I'm using literary characters from, the Elizabethan and Victorian era and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's great. I think that they belong there. You can have that.
It's definitely affected the future state of
Hold
comics.
on, no, wait,
Good
time out.
segue.
Great.
Good
That's
segue.
a great segue, but I'm sorry to ruin your segue. I wanted to be fair, and Respawn is a huge Alan Moore fan, and she's brought this up before, and that I think is also fair. And let me try to. So she writes, Alan is burned old artist, but she also thinks that most of the things she says is done in a cheeky manner, and it's not properly transposed. I don't know how to do an Australian accent, so I just go straight to UK. She said, no, I'm not. Yeah. So one of the things that she says is that a lot of times he'll say something, he's not really being super serious about it, but then it's put into text or put into a headline, and people get all rah angry about it when she thinks that maybe he's not being totally serious.
And his comments about the comic book industry, most recently, were not as bad as the headline made it sound, And on top of it, he's in the headlines and he's trying to promote his show.
She just
you know what I mean?
Right. Just right there. It's not an accident. That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So future state.
You already completely trashed my transition, and I'm gonna be.
I wonder
what stewing about that for a while.
I wonder what Alan Moore thinks about the future state of comics.
The future. Okay. Oh, speaking of future state,
This is good stuff. Boom. This is good stuff. Real good stuff.
You guys, I'm getting him. All right. Speaking of the DC Future State, the DC Future State will completely change the comics universe in 2021, and that's not at all a sensational headline. DC Comics has announced its next initiative, Future State, which promises to be the biggest shakeup in comic book history. Dark Knight's death metal has seen Earth absorbed into the dark multiverse, and the Justice League are desperately attempting to rewrite history and undo the damage that has been done to the Earth. Now, DC has announced what comes after Dark Knight's death metal, and it promises to be the biggest shakeup comic book readers have ever seen. Although the multiverse will be saved, the outcome of Dark Knight's death metal will shake loose the fabric of time and space with dramatic consequences. It's gonna be the biggest shakeup you've ever seen.
It's gonna be huge.
Tremendous. You've never seen anything like it. It's gonna be a tremendous shakeup. Like, that's what it sounds like.
Oh my god.
All I know is the Wonder Woman on the right with the long sleeves. That is the dopest character on this splash, in my opinion. That is so.
Yeah, that's a Brazilian
cool.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I do like Spider Flash.
Yeah. Wait, where?
Is that Brazilian Wonder Woman?
The Wonder Woman that's on the right side with the long sleeves and the kind of the gold chest plate. She's Brazilian.
Okay. These are very we got what looks like Spider Flash, and then we got Bat Panther. It looks very
who I think has already been leaked to be Luke Fox.
Well, that was a part of the leak from the 5G announcement. So hopefully, yeah, I'm glad that's a thing.
This sounds like it's gonna be. It's basically replacing 5G, and it's gonna be a lot of what they intended to do with 5G, which is bring an almost all new cast of heroes.
Which is fair because they already said before
5G, but less permanent.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's only gonna run for like I think till March, I believe.
All I know is I'm just gonna say this right here. If she's supposed to be Brazilian, I am incredibly disappointed in the lack of melanin in her skin, and that's all I'll say about that.
Well, wait, look at here. Wait a minute.
Is there more? Is there more stuff?
Well, I will say this. That picture probably does not paint the idea as well. But I know some of if you go into like, there was an article I found had some of actually a lot of the solicits for a lot of these issues that are going to be coming out. I mean, yeah, she's not like incredibly dark skinned, but I don't know.
Let's see.
One of those things. I mean,
yeah,
Wonder Woman is in and of herself supposed to be Greek, and she's rather white looking. So
yeah, I mean, Greek. They run the gamut there, but I'm telling you, the majority of Brazil, while they have light skinned Brazilians, the majority of Brazil is pretty fucking dark.
Most Brazilians tend to be a little bit more of the darker.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these images. But anyways,
I'm glad they ditched the name 5G, because I feel like 5G was just supposed to like suck up to AT&T.
Right. Yeah.
That's why they called it that. So like, I'm glad they're not calling it that.
Yeah.
That was always a placeholder, though. That's why I like where we're at here. I don't know. I would be willing to bet that we're not seeing much of a change in anything, but we're seing the product that was leaked last year. Exactly. Yeah.
Who's the artist? Who's the artist for this one image that we have? I forgot to know who the artist was, so that's on me. But it looks almost like Jerome Pena. Almost looks like his work, kind of.
All I know is that like whatever was originally planned, this is the same thing. It's just basically what they did is they just decided instead of tying it to Doomsday Clock, they tied it to Dark Knight's death metal, which is funny considering Scott Snyder was 5G's biggest critic in house.
Yep.
Which
Along with
is
Jeff.
Hilarious to me.
Jeff as well, though, right? Jeff was very critical. Jeff Johns is very critical of it as well, wasn't he? Or
he was critical of it, but like Scott Snyder was very like he was less polite about it. He was because basically his whole thing was that like he didn't like the idea that it was gonna like okay, so if they would have done 5G when they originally wanted to do it with Doomsday Clock, it would have screwed up his plans for death metal.
Yeah.
I see. And instead, we're just going to screw over Jeff Johns and push him farther and farther out of continuity. To where nothing he does, nothing Jeff Johns does affects continuity anymore. I don't even know if Three Jokers is canon anymore, or canon.
It's hard to honestly. We won't know till the third issue comes out, probably.
We'll see. We'll see. I love.
They pushed everything forward, but everything's going to go back to the status quo afterwards. So.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'll be checking it out. I like these character designs, and I'm always down for something that's just new and wacky. So
I just hope it's not going to be.
They're bringing Grifter back.
Yeah, Grifter's
for Future State, and I think he's in Gotham.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the stuff takes place. So like most of the storylines, it's basically like there's this new police force, kind of. Like a private police force, whatever, called the Magistrate. And pretty much all the Batman books are dealing with it. Like, Bruce Wayne fakes his death, and he's still running around looking like Batman, though. And Jason Todd is working with the Magistrate, though he's doing it reluctantly. The new Batman, which is, it's no surprise, it's Luke Fox. There's no... They pretty much gave it away in, like, the headline. It's like, it's a new Batman with a surprising connection to Lucius Fox.
Is that why they're covering his mouth here?
Yeah, that's why his mouth is covered. They're also bringing in Joe Malign from Far Sector. She's going to be a part of the Justice League in this particular event, but since she's normally on the Young Animal imprint, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, is she actually a part of the main DC continuity or not? It's like, apparently now she is. And then like Tim Drake still at some point has not become Batman. Jonathan Kent is now Superman. Somehow Donna Troy didn't take up the mantle as Wonder Woman, but whatever. And apparently Wally West is the Flash bad guy.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is he an anti-Flash?
No, I mean he's just a Flash. Like basically, he's still in his classic Flash costume, but he looks all like sickly and gaunt, and looks like he's been on like heroin for like 6 months.
He got together with Speedy and they started doing heroin together.
Yeah, they basically say he got like, probably. This actually probably is not that far from the truth. But no, apparently he gets corrupted by some evil portion of the Speed Force or whatever, and now Barry has to decide whether or not he can do what it takes to stop him.
That's right.
And I'd like there's some weird, crazy stories in there. I'll probably pick up 3 of them. Like probably the Justice League book and like Immortal Wonder Woman, and mostly because it'll have Nubia in it. I don't really care about Wonder Woman herself.
Right.
But
right.
All of it just looks weird and dumb, and I don't know, man. I can't.
DC is like definitely like in that zone these days where they're just throwing shit at the wall just to see what happens.
Like a dear God, I hope this works. Dear God, I hope this works.
I like DC. I just can't. Like, I don't want to put my local comic book store through ordering from them. Kind of, like they. Like, I'll get this stuff if they've already gonna get it, but like I don't want them to special order me anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's ordering. He's got to be ordering Future State though, right? No way. Yeah,
so he's making no money off those DC books.
Wow.
Like my local comic book store guy with the shipping, now
because they're double shipping.
They're doing direct shipping now, aren't they? Like direct to vendor or something like that.
Yeah, and it's so fun. Like he used to be he's got to pay for the shipping from Diamond, and now he's got to pay for the extra shipping from DC. And the shipping from DC are smaller packages, but we live in Hawaii.
That's it.
So it's coming so far that it's like basically for him, he's breaking even when he sells those books. He's actually, if he gives anybody a discount, like 10% off or whatever, he's losing money,
Wow.
So it's like one of those things that's sort of like I wanted to check out that Hellblazer by Aaron Campbell, the 12 that 12 issue thing run, and from the Black Label, and I was like, I want these, but I don't want you to have to special order them. If you're going to be able to get them, and they're going to be able to put them with an order that you've already got, then but don't bend over backwards trying to get them for me.
Yeah.
It's very considerate of you. I'm so selfish. That doesn't even cross my mind when I think of what I want.
Well, they're actually buds. Like, they're friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I think so.
Luke is actually our arch enemy.
I believe that. Somehow I believe that.
Right. And he won't order Bad Idea comics, which upsets me. He said it's a bad idea, which
it is a bad idea.
Maybe it is.
I tried to get Alika is the Bad Idea rep for Hawaii, and I tried to get him to sell me. Yeah, well, he got Hero Trade. He got a copy of Hero Trade, and I was like, hey man, you want to sell me that for cover price? Come on. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna sell that to you.
Yeah,
you can't have it.
There's so many. I'm sorry to veer off. I'm gonna make it fast, but there are so many creators that I'm interested in involved in Bad Idea. Joshua Dysart, Vendetti, Matt Kint. Like
Matt
there are
Kint.
so many people where like I want to read every single thing they do. And Bad Idea is deliberately making it hard to get a hold of this stuff. They said they're never going to release it in trade. They're never going to put it online. So and it's one copy per customer, so you have to special order your copy. And there's only certain approved vendors, and like there's none on Oahu. I looked at El Paso where I'm moving. There's none in El Paso. There's one in DC, so I'm gonna have to get my dad to pick up a comic book for me, which is like such a like. I'm 33. I gotta ask my dad to pick up a comic for me.
Like there's stuff wrong with that on like multiple levels, like the whole thing.
Why are they doing this? Why are they making themselves so inaccessible? It like angers me. But that's
they're curating demand. You know, they're making sure that there's always going to be a demand for their product. You know,
Bad Idea is not an ironic name. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not. It's totally.
He was talking about it on the last Nerd Watch. For those who don't know, Todd Bernardy's on the Nerd Watch, a Facebook based podcast. But he was talking about it a couple days ago on how like the marketing team for Bad Idea is pretty shitty too, where they're sending these comics out to stores and not even really labeling them, so you kind of gotta guess like what just got sent to me.
Yeah, he's got it. I mean, a lot of the vendors threw away hero trade.
My theory is that Dinesh Shamdasani is incredibly rich. He's not doing this for money. He doesn't need the money. He's just trying to fuck with people for fun. That's my theory. Is that he doesn't really care what happens here. He's just fucking around, literally.
Yeah.
So
all right,
that is what it is. So moving on. Speaking of the F word, Dracula Motherfucker is out. It's by Alex DeCampi and drawn by Erica Henderson. So we read it a few months ago because we're on the Image Press list, NBD. But it's really, really, really good. I think Robo and I both loved it, and I highly recommend it. It's on the shelf now as a graphic novel. And I think it's a hardcover with a matte cover, if I'm not mistaken. I definitely recommend you guys pick this out. Have any of you guys had the chance to read this one yet?
No.
It's really good.
I was interested in it, and I saw that it was coming out last week. I'm gonna have to go pick it up.
Yeah.
But like I read a little bit about it, and it's sort of like, you know, Dracula's coming back. You know,
Dracula. I'm not going to spoil it, but you really have no idea what you're about to read.
I mean, we do have a YouTube video called First Look, non-spoilery. If you want to check it out before you buy it, you should just click it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And
Yep.
I think I've already liked and subscribed to you guys.
I know. You're like our number one fan.
How generous. Thank you. So, all I really have to say about Dracula Motherfucker is it's out and you should pick it up. I don't know if anyone in the chat has read it. Maybe mention something in the chat. We'll circle back. But
I know Polly says she's not in the chat, but earlier Polly's is done with vampire comics. She's like, so no matter how good, I was like, no, but this one, I'm just over vampires right now.
I'm over vampires, but this is a fresh take and it's really good. So I don't know what to say. You know. So moving on, former Marvel execs launched a new comics company called AWA amid the pandemic. So this happened a while ago. We got Axel Alonso and Bill Gemas, and they were kind of thrown off by the pandemic. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting is one of the biggest investors is James Murdoch. He's the son of media mogul Rupert Murdoch, who's like the News Corp Fox News guy. But James has been in the news in completely unrelated to comics. James Murdoch's been in the news talking about how News Corp is bad for the world. So he's definitely like not on the same page as his father Rupert, the late Rupert. Or is Rupert still alive? I don't even know.
I think he is.
I think he's dead.
Rupert's
or maybe
dead.
he might not be. I don't know.
I don't know. But his James Murdoch is the cool Murdoch, and he's investing pretty heavily in this AWA thing. So 5 days after they debuted their first series in March. 5 days after it was released, distribution was halted and shops across the country closed due to the pandemic. That first series was called The Resistance by JMS. Haven't really seen anything from him in a while, so that's kind of cool. And then of the great Mike Diodato Jr. And coincidentally, it was about a virus that kills millions around the world, but gives thousands of others superpowers. It was meant to set up AWA's shared universe. And then this is a quote from Alex Tassig, a partner at the Lightspeed Venture Partners. There's an arms race for great content right now between Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and Disney itself, with Disney Plus. So they've people are investing a lot of money into this thing, and I think it gives off, when I read something like that, it gives off IP farm vibes. Like they're just trying to create IP for Amazon and Netflix. But we were talking about it. Robo and I were discussing it last Kick Boost episode, or not Kick Boost, but last a couple interviews ago. And maybe that's not always a bad thing. I don't know. You guys know anything about this?
I'm only reading one of their comics at the moment, and that's Bad Mother, which I've actually been enjoying.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I think that one I think is like, it's Christopher Faust and like Mike Diodato Jr. That do that one, but it's essentially I can see where you get like the whole like the IP farm vibe from it. A lot of the stuff does kind of seem like stuff that would be like, oh hey, this will make a good TV show. I kind of get that vibe from like some of the other comics I've seen. I haven't read The Resistance or anything like that, but I get that vibe from that one. But Bad Mother is just interesting in the fact that it's not at all what I thought it would be about. I kind of checked it out on a whim, and it's basically just like a woman whose daughter is kidnapped by sex traffickers. Oh. And she has to like take the law into her own hand to like get her kid
like Taken back. So it's like Taken, kind of, but the difference being that like she's not like she doesn't have a special set of skills. She is by all intents and purposes an average boring ass woman in the suburbs, but she's like, but because of like her daughter's disappearance, she's kind of having to like get her shit together. More or less. I actually like that better. Like, just like everyone is a killer when their kid is on the line, kind of thing. Something like that.
Yeah, like it even like a lot of the covers kind of are misleading. I think that they had 3 issues so far. The covers can be really misleading. I think the first cover shows her like holding up a gun. She never at any point holds a gun in that entire issue. Like she's
interesting.
Like basically what's up?
Oh, I just said, interesting.
Oh no, the title's the title's a bit of a misnomer too, because like, or not even a misnomer, but it's kind of misleading there too, because like, it's Bad Mother in the sense that like, her kids don't even really like her. Like they don't want to spend time with her. Like they think like she's boring. They don't think she's cool.
So
like
she's
she has
bad
a son
mother.
who's
She's
like,
not a bad mother.
Right. like they think that like they're like, oh no, I don't know, like you just drop me off at the at soccer practice, don't walk me in. Like, and like her daughter's like going out before like getting like kidnapped or whatever. Her daughter's hanging out with a bad crowd, like is hiding like her. Like she's hiding her personal life from her mother, and her mother like has no clue what's going on, and like it's one of those like she just for all intents and purposes she sucks at being a mom, because like she kind of lets her kids walk all over her.
You see that chick over there? You see that chick over there? She's a bad mother. Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Does she like know kung fu or something? No, she like forgot her kid's birthday or something. She's
yeah.
We're not talking about Shaft here.
Yeah, that's
We're talking
right.
about an actual bad mom.
Yeah, no one said shut your mouth afterwards.
CPS.
Yeah,
That's the twist. It wasn't sex traffickers. It was just CPS that took
That's right. That's right.
We gotta get them away. Out of here. They're not being taken care of.
It was all a dream. It was all a heroin fever dream.
Yeah.
But I can see, like, kind of going back and looking at it, I can see how, like, someone would probably take that comic and be like, we could make a 6-season series out of this.
Yeah.
Put it on Amazon or HBO Max or Or just I could easily see that happening though. Like just looking at just knowing what the comic is even about.
So
well, it seems
no.
like it seems like if somebody did try to adapt it, it wouldn't be like a big sci-fi, big budget kind of thing. You could do it pretty street level, and you could make it for $10 million or something. I feel like the IP farm vibe usually has that sort of like it's going to be a cheap, adaptation. It's going to be like.
Yeah, it's what's that one show? God, I can't remember the name of it. But it's also based on a comic. Stumptown.
Yeah.
Same time. Like it would go the Stumptown route. Like there's no CG, there's no heavy special effects. You could probably squeeze a few seasons out of it, and you could probably make every episode on the cheap and probably get a huge turnaround. And I get it. I totally get it because hey, you want to make money, you want to drive revenue, whatever. Yeah, that's cool. As long as you're giving the creators their coins, I don't care.
Yeah.
So my opinion on IP farms is you're not. I don't. And I'm interested to hear what Robo says because I think we don't 100% agree on this one. But like, I assume that the comics are not going to be quite as good or as much what I'm looking for in a comic when I know that a publisher is an IP farm. However, I do think that IP farms are better for TV. As a TV fan, I think comics where the idea was first conceived on basically a comic book, which is a storyboard in a lot of ways. It's very similar to a storyboard where they actually were able to do some market research and see if people were even interested in it. And then if it was good enough or it's successful, it was able to transfer into movies and TV. I do see the value in that, and I think that a lot of really cool movies can come from that. I just, as a the comic book fan side of me doesn't necessarily get enthused by IP farms. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
What about Valiant? Like Valiant's kind of an IP farm, but they're like a superhero IP farm.
Sort of now. Since DMG bought Valiant, I think it's become more of an IP farm. But from like 2012 to 2019, there was no movies in the works. They were just trying to write comic books about these characters, Yeah. I don't know. It remains to be seen. Because I'm doing a chronological read, I haven't read a lot of the post-DMG Valiant, except for the stuff where we're interviewing someone and I need to catch up on their work. So from what I've read, it's still pretty good. I know a lot of fans have complained that since DMG purchased it, it does sort of seem more like an IP farm. So I guess, I don't know. I don't have a fully formed opinion on that yet.
I'll say Image kind of had that vibe for a minute there too, because I felt like almost every comic that they came out with for a while was getting like greenlit for a movie or greenlit for a TV show, and some of them even before the comic was even out.
That's right.
I
mean,
Spawn
went to HBO pretty damn quickly.
I know. Donnie Cates was supposed to be. I think he's even still in the middle of working on this one, but they're supposed to be making a movie out of God Country. Bitterroot is supposed to be getting like a movie or TV show, or maybe both. I don't know. There was another comic called Crowded. I think I heard something about Gideon Falls, maybe even possibly.
Christopher Sabella, right?
There's like all of these different properties, which, to be fair, a lot of Image comics are great. So why not?
Yeah.
I mean, Paper Girls, that's another one that's getting one.
Yeah,
it should.
An Amazon Prime series. That comic's amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm actually surprised it took this long.
What about
Paper Girls? Well, Paper Girls isn't. Paper Girls, it's weird that Paper Girls is and Saga's not. Brian K. Vaughan.
Yeah.
Like Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona, what's her name?
Staples.
Yeah, she they said that they're never gonna develop it as a property. They're gonna tell the story. It was meant to be a comic book, and they're really grateful that it has such a good following.
Yeah. But I would love to see Saga on a screen.
Yeah, right.
If they did it the way they're doing Invincible, like they made an animated series.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that, but keep it like Invincible where it looks like the comic. Like that I would be down for.
Yeah,
and don't give it to Sci-Fi Channel because they'll just cancel it.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Give it to HBO.
Looking at you, Deadly Class.
Yeah.
I think a lot
man.
of
Or The Expanse.
I think a lot of what we're talking about with like IP farming is for me. I don't have a hard rule on it. Like I would have to say that literature is literature, right? And so you have good literature and you have bad literature, and so whether or not this is made for TV or not, I think there's a lot of comic book companies that aren't looking to IP farm, but they're just looking to push out titles and they push out garbage, right? Because bad writing is bad writing, bad art is bad art. I don't think that being an IP farm is mutually exclusive to good comic books, because if you want good stuff, like for instance the MCU, which is by and large, in my opinion, good stuff, I think that you can have both. So if I hear IP farm, I'm not going to automatically think, oh, these are going to be bad comic books, because hopefully they're good comic books that make for good TV too. So I don't know.
Like when I think IP farm, like I kind of think I don't go to like a company, I go to like a creator. You know what I mean? Like Miller World, Miller World, Kirkman with Skybound, like those guys, like everything that they like, they've signed first look deals. Those guys are definitely, I think, kind of like their IP farms.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm gonna move us along, because I think this is probably gonna. This is something we touched upon a while ago, and now it's finally here, and I read it, so it's we'll get into it. But this week sees the release of the first issue of DC's Rorschach, which is going to be a 12-issue series that isn't quite a Watchmen sequel, but certainly takes place in. The article says the Watchmen universe. I'm going to say a Watchmen universe. And uses iconography from Watchmen. It's written by Tom King and artist Jorge Fornes, whose work recently wowed readers in Marvel's Daredevil. Rorschach is a murder mystery of sort. I'm not going to read this whole thing. We're just going to talk about it. But so the first issue was okay, in my opinion. Did any of you get around to it, or am I the only one here who?
No, I read it. I share a similar stance. It's okay.
It's okay.
I think that like it's what's the best way to put it? Reading it, I can say that it has my curiosity. Like I'm curious to see like where it's going. But like if you're asking like, did it wow me like right out of the gate? Was I like, oh my god, man, I can't wait to see the next issue? No, it did not do. But like I was kind of I do want to know more. Just I'm gonna wait and see. I want to read the next issue and see what I think, and then go from.
So this isn't changing.
It has an interesting premise.
This isn't changing Alan Moore's mind. Is that what you're saying?
This is not changing Alan Moore's mind.
No, this does not change his mind. I will say there is a really nice allusion to the Watchmen HBO series.
Right. Yeah. We have the.
But
you
gotta let me know which one. I just threw them in here, but
the panel that has someone pulling a mask out of a bag, and there's a 3 text box. Yep, there it is. So this bottom text box here, is that what you were talking about, Ernie?
Yeah, it's that. Okay, so it's that panel, and there's also a second one where they mention a certain president, or someone who's running. Someone who's running. But both of those shots are very indicative of what are alluded to in the HBO series. The importance of the Tulsa riot, and of course, and it's not even a spoiler, which doesn't even really matter. But the fact that Robert Redford is the president of the United States in the HBO Watchmen series, which was supposed to be kind of like a play on the fact that celebrities,
that's right.
Alan Moore's whole take on the fact that celebrities are going to become the new president.
That's right.
Which
so perceptive. So perceptive of him, like he's spot on.
I mean, Ronald Reagan was an actor, Jason, so this is definitely not. Yeah, the whole Ronald Reagan being an actor thing, Wild West actor was kind of like, I think was really a downhill slope to the whole presidency. But anyways, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah.
So what we're seeing here is definitely a I use the word canon, but loosely. You know, the source material is Alan Moore's Watchmen, and that is consistent across the board. Is that the source material is Alan Moore's original 12-issue graphic novel, The Watchmen. This Rorschach seems like it's more closely aligned with the Watchmen HBO series continuity. I don't think it's even going to acknowledge the Doomsday Clock, which is probably for the best. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, it does. It doesn't seem to have. This version of Rorschach has seemingly no connection whatsoever to Doomsday Clock, like at all. Like this is, like honestly, especially based on the timing of this series, I'm almost shocked it didn't come out a little sooner, like roughly around the time the HBO series was even going on.
Because it seems like it almost ties in.
Yeah, it's very close, and maybe we'll learn more as it goes along. But I don't feel like this takes place in like the DC comics,
Right.
Earth Prime, whatever the hell Earth they're on now.
Right.
Earth, Earth Prime, Earth Zero, Earth 1, whatever it is.
Let's just say main Earth, whatever main Earth is.
Yeah, whatever is the Earth where all the good stuff happens.
Right.
Do they refer to like Nixon in the repealing the term limits in Watchmen in this book?
Not yet.
No. Okay.
No.
There were some panels that were eye-catching. There's this one panel, and it's on the screen right now. They're talking about this character William Myerson, and he says he's William Myerson. He's actually a little famous. I guess he's the guy who created Pontius Pirate back in the 60s, going with the pirate thing. And then he goes, there's all sorts of stuff out there about him. He's a crazy shut-in type, but there's like people who worship him. It's crazy. Do you guys think that might be a thinly veiled allusion to a certain wizard?
Yes.
That's interesting. You know, when I first read that, I thought it was you're right. Yes, that's the answer. But I thought it was an allusion to Rorschach in general. And you know how when Alan Moore was talking about how it's kind of crazy how the way he meant for Rorschach to be, and yet people come up to him in Comic-Cons and go, that's my favorite. And he's like, gross, you're not supposed to like him. So when I read that, I was like, oh, that's a reference to Rorschach the character. And then but now that you say that, I'm like, oh, Alan Moore. Yes, that's it.
I would pay solid money to see Alan Moore's reaction to being having a character that's a pastiche of him in a spin-off of The Watchmen.
I would like to see,
especially being referred to as a crazy pirate.
Right. Yes. Oh, he definitely hates that. 100% hates that.
I'd like to see him just react to any of the movies that they've made based on his work, past League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
because they actually got a little bit better.
That's right. That's right. I wonder what kind of spells he's gonna cast in his anger.
Right. Curse us to V for Vendetta future or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, God.
There's another panel that I thought was kind of interesting, and it shows like a tape player with. And what we're looking at here is, this is such a throwaway reference, but it says, "This is Frank Miller. I'd like to contact my grandmother Brigham and ask her to say her name or say hello or something." And I just thought that was weird. Like, of all the names, why? There's just no big why. I have no idea. I'm stumped, but it was weird.
I was thinking, because Frank Miller's not connected to Watchmen in any meaningful way, is he?
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Like, he didn't even do anything for, like, what was it, before Watchmen? He didn't even do anything for that, did he?
The only connection between Frank Miller and Watchmen is that he became popular around the same time that Alan Moore became popular, and he's considered part of that wave of comics. That's it.
I don't know. I don't, like, you know what?
Whatever.
I just, only thing is, I foresee that, this whole, whatever series, I just foresee that by the end of it, we'll just learn that, oh, hey, yeah, these are basically, like, this dude's basically, like, instead of painting Rorschach as, like, a good person, I feel like they're just going to actually be straight up and paint him as, like, a person you probably shouldn't like. Yeah. Because that's pretty much what they're doing right now.
That's
like,
right.
oh, yeah, he's some crazy dude. And He might be connected to some kind of a
White supremacist thing.
yeah, well, yeah, some kind of white, like, yeah, they kind of dance around it a little bit, but like that's kind of the vibe you get.
Hey, Judy, do you want to skip this next one and go straight to Last Ronin?
Yeah, we could do that. Can you just show the picture for like 3 seconds? Not discussing it. I just want to show the picture. Check this out. It's a clown comic called Haha in the works from Image, and it's from the Ice Cream Man co-creator Maxwell Prince. I'm definitely gonna read it because it looks terrifying. And that's all I have to say about it.
That is that is scary as shit. That is scary.
Yeah. Okay. So, who did we talk to about The Last Ronin, Robo? We talked to some guy about it who was like loosely connected to it.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole name, but it rhymes with Kevin Eastman.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we no big deal. I hate to do this, but it's tacky, but I have to do it. Check out our episode where we talked to Kevin Eastman because it was like a bucket list item of my life, and it was really like fulfilling, and I almost cried. But I kept my cool.
It's only tacky when you do it on somebody else's channel. This is our channel. Okay. Go check out the video.
Last time Kevin Eastman was in Hawaii, it was during it was when we got shut down. The comic book convention got called off for the thing.
Yeah.
For the hurricane, and he did the signing, and I actually did a sign. I did the signing with him. Kevin Eastman let me kind of piggyback another me and a friend.
That's awesome.
Real quick. So not only did he sign this,
yeah,
but he did a sketch of Raphael.
That's
canon right there.
Is that from the signing that happened?
Yeah. So this is at Amazing Comic-Con. So interesting story. I saw him outside, but I didn't know it was Kevin Eastman because nobody ever knows what comic book writers look like in real life. You know what I mean? They're very much like you recognize their name more than their face. So I was outside, and this is back when I smoked Camel Crushes. So I was having a cigarette, and a woman came up and asked me for a light. So I went up and I lit her and her husband's cigarette, and very pleasant. But didn't talk about anything of substance. It was just like a hi, good, okay. And then I went back to my where I was smoking with my ex at the time. And then I went into Comic-Con. I went to the Kevin Eastman panel, and lo and behold, it was Kevin Eastman and his wife that were out front.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like, since he's been coming to Hawaii and I've been going to the cons, I've gotten to kind of meet him and stuff. He gave me a hug last time I saw him.
Oh wow, that's amazing. You were hugged by the guy who created the team.
Yeah, that's
pretty awesome.
So I haven't read The Last Ronin yet. Have you guys read The Last Ronin #1 yet? I haven't read it.
No.
I'm dying to read it,
and
though.
Apparently it's going to be hard to get.
Yeah.
So it sounds like eBay prices, you expect those to shoot up. The Last Ronin did not print as many. What is it? First to Cut, the FLC. Didn't get as much as they thought they were going to get. It says in here, it wasn't an ideal situation, but IDW said an aggressive print run, believing the total would meet the final quantity needed. However, the retailer FLC orders far surpassed what was anticipated. So if you wanted The Last Ronin and expected it to show up to your comic book store, you might want to get it sooner than later if it's not already gone, because everything else is going to be second print. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably gonna have to get.
Interesting.
Well, you can always buy it for $100 on eBay. So.
I'm not that. I'm into it, but I'm not that into it.
Do we know who The Last Ronin is? Is it Michelangelo? I think.
We don't know yet.
I think it's Donatello.
Really? Donatello?
If I had to guess, it's just a pure guess here, not because I've read anything else, but I'm gonna go with Michelangelo. So one of the things that I heard, and I'm not being funny here, I can't remember if this was Kevin Eastman who said it on the show, or if it was just something I saw in another podcast. But it was it was Greg Katzman, and when we interviewed him, where he was talking about how he likes Michelangelo because he's young, and there's a lot of this kind of trauma and violence that he deals with, and the only way that he kind of copes with it is by laughing everything off. He plays too much because that's how he's coping with the kind of shit that's going on around him. He takes things the hardest. So having the youngest, most juvenile, playful character be the one who's the last one to stand and go through it, I think would be a pretty awesome twist.
That would be awesome. When I first heard about it, I assumed it was Raph because he's the gritty,
right.
He's the Ronin of the group.
That would be meeting expectations. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
that would be expectations, though. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Michelangelo would be enough of a throw off. So definitely gonna read that.
Did anybody hear about the whole what's going on with the whole Tatiana Maslany not being the She-Hulk? How did that happen?
She's just not. It was misreported.
Yeah.
But
she said that it was a press release that her words said it was a press release that got out of hand. That she said she's not connected to it.
So here's what's funny.
Say that. Though she specifically said she's not playing She-Hulk. Not to say she's not on the show, but she could also be deflecting. You never know sometimes.
So I can't remember exactly who it was, but somebody important attached to the show. I think the casting director or a producer, somebody on the show retweeted that headline. And so that's where everybody was like, okay,
like Mark Ruffalo, he then welcomed her into the MCU, and a bunch of people who used to write for She-Hulk did. It was like then it became this huge thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow. It's almost like they have to now. Now they have to be like, oh well, I guess you're She-Hulk.
Yeah. Surprise!
Surprise! There's a guy in our Facebook group named Ben Dobson who's going to be very disappointed because he really celebrated this news.
That's right.
For days. Days he celebrated this, making posts.
I'm so happy.
So happy. And he's going to be really disappointed, which is sad.
Yeah.
Shame on media. That's what you get when you listen to the lamestream media.
Hashtag fake news. Hey, so as we close up here, we got a couple questions from the chat that we'll go ahead and ask. We'll ask a couple of the fastballs first, and then we have kind of a curveball, a serious one for Judah Red, and not just kidding serious. It's kind of serious. Ace says, "Oh yeah, sure. I have a couple questions. How have y'all been? Have you been staying hydrated? And will someone buy me every comic on my wish list just because they have cash to throw down? I'll tell you what, I'll buy you a comic on your wish list just because you asked. Not everyone. I don't know how long the wish list is. But yeah, I'm hydrated. What about you guys? How are you guys holding up in the whole COVID world? Some people better than others.
I'm pretty good.
I
don't want to rub it. I don't want to rub it in because I've been going to the beach and getting exercise.
That's it. Some people have it harder than others. So it's no secret that Judah and I are in the military, so our paychecks haven't been affected, and really you have to go to work less. So it's really this is a bad time. That people are dying, but it's it's not that bad for me. But it kind of sucks for the rest. So that's a downer in and of itself. What about you? What about you, Blerd, out there in the South?
Same for the most part. I was already working for myself before all this came along. I've been working for myself for about practically almost a year to the date.
Right.
That everything started. So I didn't have to worry about so much getting work, having work, or being employed. I was already kind of a stay-at-home dad anyway, so that was already a thing. And I don't really leave the house, so being quarantined was kind of okay, well, this is just Tuesday, for me. This is any other day. The only parts where it has sucked is people who are close to me have been put at risk, so technically that puts me at risk sometimes. But beyond that, I can't complain. I wouldn't. I know too many people who are that have it way worse.
That's right.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, it kind of sucks. But, it's shit. This is any other normal day for me. Whether there was a pandemic or not, I would be sitting on my ass every day in front of my computer, reading comics, playing video games, and playing with my kid.
I tell you what, the CEOs at YouTube and Twitch were like, "This is the best pandemic ever."
Right. Yeah.
All right. So moving. What about you, Aaron? I'm sorry, Judah. How are you?
You know how I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know how I'm doing.
Yeah, same as me.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
as you, yeah.
Real quick, Respawn. From Respawn, spooky question: best horror comic? Would you be a vampire or no? And is there a scary movie you watch every Halloween? I would say Black Monday Murders is pretty freaking creepy. If you want something new and indie, go check out Discordia, which is really awesome and really creepy. We did a video on it. It just passed. It killed it in the Kickstarter, and we were reading it. It's really good. It's really good. And would I be a vampire? Yes, but the instruction I would give my familiar, because I don't know if there's any supernatural rules against killing yourself, but when I'm done and I'm ready to be done and I feel myself going crazy, then my instructions to my familiar would be to stake me so I can move on. But so eventually I would. And scary movie every Halloween is The Craft, but only because of Mylene. I don't really have a movie myself, but Mylene makes me watch The Craft every year.
It's a good one.
What about you?
That's a good one. Okay. My favorite Halloween movie. I think it might be John Wick. I don't know. I just really like it, and
yeah.
I don't
watch it?
I don't feel the need to follow any social conventions and watch a scary movie on Halloween.
You're such a badass.
Because I'm an iconoclast. And then what was the rest of the question? I'm having trouble finding it.
Would you be a vampire?
Would I be a vampire? No. The idea of living forever appeals to me, but I don't really want to have to drink blood. It just doesn't sound good. And I don't want to give up all the food I do like, because I'm pretty sure vampires can't eat normal food anymore.
Yeah,
so it's like
puke,
all I get to eat is blood. It
Yeah.
just doesn't sound appealing.
Yeah.
So the answer is no.
All right, Blur.
Although apparently there's a lot of hot vampire babes, which does sound appealing, but I don't know.
I mean, that's standard. That's a standard scene in most vampire movies, is the orgy part of it. So I think I can give up food if it means nightly orgies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up, Blur?
What about you, Todd?
Where you at?
Or Blur?
Oh, my bad. I'm just kind of going around in the circle on my screen. Blur, go.
Oh wait, which one? We want Todd or me?
Go ahead, Blur, go.
Oh man, I'm on the spot here. Well, the movie part's easy. John Carpenter's The Thing. I watch that movie not just every Halloween, but I watch it maybe once every couple of weeks. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week, at least once a month. Love that movie. It's fantastic. It has practical effects that still hold up today. And a second movie would be Night of the Demons. I like that movie because it's schlocky and it's bad and it's cheesy and not good, and for some reason still scares the piss out of me. But as far as the whole vampire thing, it depends on the lore. Depends on what type of vampire. If it's the weird, creepy, nasty, dirty vampires from The Strain, I would say no.
Not ugly vampires.
Yeah, they're just gross. They're just gross because they have the whole worm thing.
Yeah.
If it's Vampire the Masquerade or Blade or some shit like that, I'd be all right, cool, I'm in.
Vampire the Masquerade, 100%.
Blade.
Yeah.
There are some. I don't want to be one of them. Even the ugly vampires in Masquerade are not ugly anymore. They're unsettling now, which is
nice.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So only specific vampires. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about you, Todd?
I would be a vampire for sure. I would end up probably being a vampire like what we did in the Shadows, though. I'd be a real funny vampire. Yeah. I would be getting into trouble in Long Island or something.
Yeah. Pranking people.
Yeah. Be like my coven versus the werewolf cult down the street or something.
There you go.
But yeah, I would be into that. As far as movies go, I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but I do try to watch them around this time. And I'm a huge X-Files fan, so I'm usually watching something that has to do with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
If I had to pick, like, if I had to pick one, I would pick like Drag Me to Hell, or like
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
or like
Sam
Army of Darkness.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Evil Dead or something like that. You
Yeah, that's awesome.
know? And then you guys, Black Monday Murders. I'm totally about that life. I love that. If I had to pick a different one, though, I would pick Infidel, by Aaron Campbell and Pornak Pinochet.
Pinochet.
Yeah, Pinochet. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how to. Is that how you?
Yes, but it sounds right.
That was a cool comic book. I really like the artwork, and it's like about racist ghosts. So.
Oh wow.
The Ku Klux Klan, they're basically racist ghosts. They look like racist ghosts.
It's a woman who's Muslim who moves into a haunted building.
Oh, okay.
And so she's getting haunted by the ghosts that live in this building. It's really good.
Speaking of racists and ghosts, Lovecraft Country. Watch that. That's great for Halloween country. Halloween.
Yeah.
I want to check that out. I haven't watched it yet.
So good.
Crazy.
The setup was kind of caught me off guard. So not any spoilers, but just know that it's built like an anthology where every episode is like its own like story. And I didn't expect that. I was expecting like whatever happened in the next episode. I can't wait to see what happens next. And it was really they're done with that. Now here's the next story. So set up like that. Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
There's still an overall story,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, each episode is very self-contained.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. It's some good stuff in there. Oh, the hard question. And I know we're running long here. But Aaron, and we can actually put this off till next week because we're still in Halloween.
Who's this Aaron?
I keep doing
character?
that. I keep using a government name. My bad. But here's the deal: is
That's how I get doxxed, man. That's how I get doxxed.
yeah, our shit's out there, bro. So might as well just change it. No, just kidding. So we have next weekend, Live from the Apocalypse. We'll do a Halloween themed deal, and then the next Live from the Apocalypse after that is on Halloween. So hopefully we'll be able to pick up masks and stuff. So if you want to think more about this and answer it, because it'll be a kind of spooky kind of question, if you want to save it for the next week's, you can. But the question is from Black Monday Murders. I believe I think it was Ace. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think Ace said I can't watch. I couldn't keep reading it because I couldn't get past the anti-Semitism. And you and I talked about that with regard to what the Rothschilds being one of the evil families and how it kind of perpetuates that anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. So if you want to digest it more and talk more about it when you can like compile it, you can. But
I'm gonna take you up on talking about it next episode because I've thought about it a lot because I'm so conflicted because of how much I love Jonathan Hickman and how much I love that book.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are definitely some anti-Semitic tropes. And it's how I feel about it. Constructing that my response to that is going to take me like another week of thinking about it. So
all right.
I will answer that question next week when we have Alex Packnadell on the show talking to us about his new project Giga for Vault Comics.
That's right.
Is it Giga or Giga? I really don't know. I think it's Giga.
I think it's Giga only because it's gigabyte and it's supposed to be about robots and stuff. Right?
So maybe it's Giga.
It might be Giga or Giga. We'll find out next week. So,
okay.
What Judah thinks about Black Monday Murders, and most importantly, how to pronounce Alex Packnadell's new book, Giga.
Ace says we skipped his question.
It's pronounced Jigga, like GIF.
Damn.
Right.
Damn. That'll take us into a whole new thing because I'm a GIF kind of guy, just so you guys know. I know I'm by myself on this. There is one more question from Ace. Can we all head out to Virginia and do this show in their backyard while barbecuing? And the answer is
that's an easy yes.
After COVID vaccines come out.
Yes.
You crazy
It's
person.
a date.
Ladies and gentlemen and NBs, that is our show. That is the end of Live from the Apocalypse. Don't forget to check out Blerd Without Fears. We dropped it earlier, but it'll also be in the description. His Twitch, his YouTube, his Twitter. Go out there and follow him. Also, check out Todd Bernardy. I don't know why he's waving that Silver Surfer around. Also, check.
So I just got it in the mail, and I just want to brag.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to check out Todd Bernardy. We'll also drop the links in there for the Kukui Project, Mohawk Thunder, and a third one that I'm.
Disco Thunder Groove Bone.
That one, where they find the last cocoa plant in the world, where they're searching for
Coffee.
That. Yeah. Not cocoa, coffee.
It's a nightmare. That might be the fourth thing I'm afraid of, is a world with no coffee. So
Yeah.
That sounds horrible. But there's energy drinks, though. So
They have energy drinks.
I'm okay with that.
Oh,
I'm fine.
okay. Well, then we're
All right, guys, take care. Don't forget to wash your hands, wear your mask, and please, and I say this all the time, but I'm not fucking kidding, go vote. Register to vote. It's not too
Go
late.
vote.
Do it.
Go fucking vote.
Do it.
See ya.
Peace.
Thank you for watching IFLC. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and be free. Follow our links and watch our show because you want to and not because of the threats. Thank you for watching Judah, Robo, and Ree. We talk about comics, movies, and TV. Sometimes we have notable guests, and sometimes it's just us. But we're also cool.